Project 2025. Sounds like a science fiction movie, right? Sadly, it's real. This project is a conservative blueprint. It aims to reshape America. It targets many things. One big one is reproductive rights. This plan has sparked fear and anger. Many see it as a threat. They worry about its impact on women. This is especially true for black women. It wants to limit abortion. It aims to defund Planned Parenthood. It seeks to overturn Roe v. Wade. This landmark case gave women the right to choose. Now, that right hangs in the balance. We're going to break down Project 2025 and its potential impact through the lens of the black community. The fight for reproductive rights is not new. It's a fight that's been waged for generations. And for black communities, this fight is deeply intertwined with our history. We've faced forced sterilization. We've seen limited access to healthcare. We've experienced systemic racism in the medical system. From the era of slavery to the present day, black women's bodies have been controlled, exploited, and denied autonomy. This painful past informs our present. It reminds us that we must be vigilant. This history of medical racism cannot be ignored. Because when we talk about reproductive rights, we're not just talking about abortion. We're talking about access to contraception and affordable health care. In the next sections, we'll dive deeper into Project 2025. We'll analyze its potential impact on black women and children. We'll hear stories from the front lines. This is not just a fight for black communities. It's about the future we want to build together. Let's be clear. The fight for reproductive rights in the black community didn't start with Roe v. Wade. It goes way back. Back to the days of slavery, where black women's bodies were treated like property. Their fertility, a tool for profit. Forced breeding was a reality. It was a way to increase the number of slaves. This horrific practice stripped black women of their autonomy. After slavery, things didn't magically get better. Jim Crow laws enforced segregation. This impacted healthcare. Black communities were often denied access to quality care. This included reproductive health care. Black women faced higher maternal mortality rates. They had limited access to contraception. The fight for reproductive rights is deeply connected to this history. It's about ensuring that black women have the same rights and freedoms as everyone else. One of the darkest chapters in this history is the era of eugenics. This pseudoscience promoted the idea of improving the human race through selective breeding. It targeted marginalized communities. Black communities were disproportionately impacted. Forced sterilization programs became widespread. These programs were often presented as a form of public health. But in reality, they were a tool of social control. Black women were coerced into sterilization. They were often misinformed about the procedures. They were told it was reversible when it wasn't. These practices left deep scars and fueled fear and distrust of the medical system. The legacy of eugenics is a stark reminder of the importance of reproductive justice. Despite these challenges, black communities have always resisted. Black women have been at the forefront of the reproductive rights movement. They have organized, protested, and demanded better for themselves and their communities. Figures like Fannie Lou Hamer stand out. Hamer was a civil rights activist. She spoke out about the forced sterilization she endured. Her story shed light on the horrors faced by black women. She became a powerful voice for reproductive justice. For black women, the fight for reproductive rights has always been about more than just abortion. It's about the right to have children and raise them in safe and healthy environments. This holistic approach is known as reproductive justice. Black women have been instrumental in shaping this movement. Project 2025 is like trying to hit rewind on all the progress made. It's a direct attack on reproductive rights. It's like they took all the worst policies of the past and put them in a blender. The result? A toxic cocktail that specifically harms black women. This ain't just about abortion. Project 2025 wants to defund Planned Parenthood. They want to restrict access to contraception. They want to make it harder for women to get the health care they need. And guess who relies on these services the most? Low-income women, especially black women. We can't let them get away with it. Let's talk about Planned Parenthood. This organization has been a lifeline for millions of women. They provide essential healthcare services. This includes cancer screenings, STI testing, and contraception. They are often the only source of healthcare for low-income women. Project 2025 wants to shut them down. They claim it's about saving money. But that's a lie. Defunding Planned Parenthood will actually cost us more in the long run. For Black women, the impact will be even more severe. They already face significant barriers to healthcare. Defunding Planned Parenthood will only make these disparities worse. The attack on reproductive rights doesn't stop at abortion and contraception. It also impacts maternal health care. Black women in America are already 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related complications than white women. This is a national disgrace, and Project 2025 will only make things worse. By restricting access to health care, by defunding programs that support mothers and children, by creating an environment where Black women are afraid to seek medical care. This isn't just about healthcare, it's about systemic racism and implicit bias in our healthcare system. Project 2025 will exacerbate these inequalities. Here's the thing about reproductive rights. It's not just about what happens in the doctor's office. It's about economic justice. It's about having the resources to raise a family with dignity. It's about breaking the cycle of poverty that disproportionately impacts Black communities. When women are denied access to contraception and abortion, it limits their economic opportunities. They're more likely to drop out of school or delay their careers. They're less likely to achieve financial independence, and their children are more likely to grow up in poverty. Project 2025 will widen the racial wealth gap. It will trap more Black families in poverty. We can't talk about reproductive rights without talking about children. Project 2025 might be aiming at women, but the bullet holes will be found in our children. When you limit a woman's choices, you limit a child's future. We're talking about kids growing up in poverty, lacking access to health care and education. When women are forced to carry unwanted pregnancies to term, it has a ripple effect. More children are born into families that may not be financially prepared. Resources are stretched thin. And who suffers the most? The kids. This isn't about being pro-life or pro-choice anymore. This is about being pro-child. Project 2025 is like a magnifying glass on existing inequalities. Take healthcare, for example. Black children already face disproportionate rates of infant mortality, asthma, and other health issues. This is due to factors like poverty, lack of access to quality healthcare, and environmental racism. Now, add Project 2025 to the mix. Defunding Planned Parenthood means fewer community health centers providing vital services to low-income families. Restricting access to contraception can lead to more unintended pregnancies, straining the healthcare system. And guess who feels the brunt of these cuts? Black communities. Education. They say it's the great equalizer. But what happens when you stack the deck against certain children from the start? Project 2025's attack on reproductive rights has serious implications for early childhood development and education. Studies show that children who grow up in poverty are more likely to start school behind their peers. Now imagine adding the stress of limited access to healthcare, nutrition, and stable housing on top of that. Project 2025 creates a vicious cycle. So where do we go from here? We fight back, we resist, we refuse to let Project 2025 define our future, and we start by investing in our children. We need to expand access to quality, affordable healthcare for all. We need to support early childhood education programs. We need to fight for economic justice and create opportunities for all families to thrive. This isn't just about politics, it's about our values. Here's the thing about inequality. It doesn't exist in a vacuum. It's woven into the fabric of our society. It shows up in our healthcare system, our education system, our criminal justice system. And guess what? Project 2025 acts like a giant magnifying glass on all those existing inequalities. Black communities already face higher rates of poverty, unemployment, and incarceration. Now, imagine layering on top of that limited access to reproductive health care and defunded social programs. Project 2025 isn't about saving families or protecting life. It's about controlling Black bodies and limiting their opportunities. The wealth gap widens. Economic impacts on Black families. Let's talk about money, folks. The racial wealth gap in America is staggering. Black families have a fraction of the wealth of white families. Project 2025 makes that gap even wider. Restricting reproductive health care has economic impacts. Unwanted pregnancies lead to unexpected expenses and lost wages. When Black communities are disadvantaged, it hurts everyone. Fewer resources for schools and community centers. Section 3. Political disenfranchisement, silencing the voices of Black women. This isn't just about healthcare or economics, it's about power. Project 2025 aims to silence Black women and limit their political power. Restricting reproductive health care impacts Black women disproportionately. It tells them their bodies, choices, and voices don't matter. It's about the ripple effect on other issues. Economic disadvantage limits their ability to vote, organize, and advocate. Project 2025 maintains a status quo where Black women are underrepresented. Section 4. A system under strain. The pressure on social safety nets. Project 2025 is dismantling reproductive rights and exacerbating inequality, putting immense pressure on social safety nets. Programs like SNAP, TANF, and Medicaid provide food, housing, and health care to millions. More women forced to carry unwanted pregnancies means more need for these services. More families will struggle, straining already thin resources. Project 2025 supporters often advocate for cutting funding, claiming their handouts. It's a cruel irony. They create the need for these programs, then demonize those who need them. Stories of resilience and resistance. Numbers tell a story, but sometimes you need to hear the heartbeat behind the statistics. Project 2025 isn't just some abstract policy debate. It's impacting real people, real families, right now. You hear the fear, the anger, but also the incredible resilience. Take Miss Jackson, a single mother of 3 from Alabama. She relies on Planned Parenthood for affordable contraception. "They're a lifeline for me," she says. Her story isn't unique, it's echoed by countless Black women across the country. Then there's young Marcus, a college student from Chicago. He volunteers at a local clinic. "Seeing the impact fuels my fire," he says. "We have to fight back. Our lives depend on it." Community activists speak out. Across the nation, a chorus of voices is rising in defiance. Black activists are on the front lines, mobilizing their communities and demanding change. Miss Williams, a veteran advocate, says, "We've been down this road before. They tried to silence us, but we're still here, still fighting, and we will not be silenced. This is our fight, and we will win." Section 1. A crossroads for justice. The stakes of inaction. We've journeyed through the history books, folks. We've heard the stories, felt the fear, and witnessed the unwavering spirit of resistance. But let's be clear, this ain't a spectator sport. We're standing at a crossroads, and the path we choose will determine the fate of generations to come. Ignoring Project 2025 isn't an option. Pretending it won't affect us, hoping it'll just go away, that's like playing Russian roulette with the lives of Black women and children. The stakes are too high, the potential consequences too dire. We've seen what happens when those in power try to control Black bodies, dictate their choices, and limit their futures. We've learned from the mistakes of the past, the injustices endured, the battles fought and won, and we know this. We cannot, we will not go back. Section 2. Reclaiming our narrative. The power of collective action. Here's the good news. We have power. We have a voice. And when we join hands, raise those voices in unison, we become an unstoppable force for change. Project 2025 wants us to believe we're powerless, that the deck is stacked against us, that resistance is futile. But they underestimate one thing, the power of collective action, the spirit of resilience that runs deep in our communities. It's time to reclaim our narrative, to show them that we will not be silenced, intimidated, or pushed to the sidelines. We will fight back with everything we've got. We will organize, mobilize, and vote like our lives depend on it, because they do. Section 3. Building a future where Black lives bloom. A call to action. This ain't just about fighting against something, it's about fighting for something. We're fighting for a future where every Black child has the opportunity to thrive. Where Black women are empowered to make their own choices about their bodies and their lives. Where Black communities are safe, healthy, and prosperous. So what can we do? Where do we start? The answer is simple. Get involved. Use your voice. Use your vote. Support organizations on the front lines. Donate to abortion funds. Volunteer your time. Educate yourselves and others. Hold elected officials accountable. Vote in every election, local and national. This is our moment, folks. Let's rise to the occasion. Let's build a future where Black lives not just matter, but truly bloom. The time for action is now.